Hello, Willow Park. This is Ginger Adams here, and I am here with a friend of mine named Philip Meadows. And we're going to talk to him today about what he does on the side. He has a business called Meadows Wood Design,
Yep,
right?
that's right.
And he's going to show us what he does today. First of all, Philip, why don't you tell us about what brought you here to Willow Park and what you like about living here?
Yeah, so I'm a pastor full-time. I'm a worship pastor at a church in Aledo. And about 5 years ago, my wife and I were transitioning to a new position, and we actually interviewed all over the United States. We flew to Illinois. We almost flew to South Carolina to go interview at a church, and the Lord actually just brought us 30 minutes down the road to Aledo. We were living in Arlington, and so I moved out here for a job, and we've been out here for 5 years. We actually love Willow Park. I grew up in East Texas in a small town of about 1,500 people, and so Willow Park reminds me a lot of my hometown. It's quiet. You have access to a lot of things that are actually fairly close here, but you still feel like you're kind of in the country a little bit, and so it's nice and quiet. We love being here. We love living here.
Awesome. And you have, who do you have in your family that lives here with you?
Yeah, so me and my wife live here, and we've got 3 kids. I've got a 6-year-old, 3-year-old, and a 16-month-old. So we are like our own little circus.
Yeah, so he has nothing better to do, so he thought he might start a business on the side and make all kinds of fabulous things.
Exactly.
Okay, and we have with us today Colby Ratliff. Colby, you want to come say hello? And Tristan Ratliff, you want to come say hello? And they are going to be learning about what Philip does in his shop. So why don't we go ahead and see what he does?
Show you just something that we build here. We build lots of different things, anything from furniture, farm tables, cabinets, built-ins. We build lots of different things, but one of the favorite things that we like to build are these little rockers. I actually designed this one and built this for my little girl when she turned 1, and we got a lot of interest with it, and people wanted them. So we came up with a couple different designs, but today I just want to show you kind of how we build these things and what they're made of and all those different things. So what I did is I started out with some cardboard and I hand sketched these. These are my designs. So I have just all the different pieces that are cut out from the cardboard. So this is the body, and then you have the ears. And so what I do is I take, this is just 3/4 inch plywood. It's stuff this is actually stuff you just buy at Home Depot or Lowe's. It's cabinet grade plywood. And I actually, as you can see, and this one you guys can see this, I glue 2 pieces together. It takes 24 hours for it to glue and to set up, but you glue these together, and that way you can get the thickness of the body like this here. And so, so whenever it's glued up, you take it and I cut it out to this size and try to get, the least amount of waste as possible, get the most use out of one piece of wood. But what you do at that point is you just take your templates. This is very easy, very simple. But you just take your template, you lay it on the wood, and you kind of lay everything out just to make sure you can get everything on one piece of wood here. You lay it all in there. And this one I have to cut 2 of these, so I can see I sketched it twice. But the body, the ears, the legs, all those things, they come out of this piece of wood. And then for the seat, I have a piece of pine that you can see here where I've glued this one up as well. But just taking this, and you can see where I've sketched it out on here as well.
Why do you use 2 different pieces of wood?
So for the body, I like to use the plywood because the plywood stays nice and straight. It doesn't bend, so when you get the body like this, everything stays nice and straight. For the seat, I like the look. I usually keep the seat natural. I don't finish it with anything. I just leave it the pine. I like the look of the pine better. So you can see here, like this is pine, and all these parts are pine here. And so I like to leave these natural, and it just looks, kind of gives contrast on the color of the wood. But then at that point, I've got another piece of pine here where I've taken, this is my rocker, and you can see where I've sketched it out here as well. All right, so next we're going to show you guys how we take the piece of wood and we cut it out. So what we're going to use is this is called a bandsaw, and this is, I'll be honest, this is one of my favorite tools because with this blade you can cut out pretty much any shape you want. You can take the wood, you can pass it through, you can cut out circles, you can cut curves, and it is a ton of fun to use. So I just like it. It's a lot of fun. So this is a bandsaw. This is a 14-inch bandsaw. But I'm going to show you guys how I cut the piece of wood out. So I'll give you guys these safety goggles. Safety first. And then we're going to turn on the shop vac just to catch the dust, so it's going to be a little loud. So, and then we'll show you guys how we cut out the body of the elephant. So. Okay, so what I've done is I've gone ahead and, for time's sake, I cut down some of the board and cut some of the excess off. So you can see here that this is the shape of the elephant. And what I'm going to do, just a second, is I'm going to start my shop vac just to catch some of the dust coming off the bandsaw, and then show you just how we can take around these curves. It's one of the great things about the bandsaw is you can go around and you can cut lots of curves and different shapes out. So, but I'm going to turn on the shop vac and then we'll show you how we cut this out. Okay, so after we've gone through the bandsaw and we've cut our shape out, the next step is I take it over, because a lot of times coming off the bandsaw you have rough edges on it. So what I do is I take it over, and this is a tabletop belt sander, and basically it's just a sanding belt, and you take your piece, once you fire this up, you take your piece and hold it against this, and you sand off any kind of rough edges that may be on it, and you just get it down to the smoothness or however much whatever kind of shape you want. It'll take off a lot of material if you have extra material on there as well. But after this step, I bring it over here and I use this is called a palm router. And for all my edges, and you can see on my finished one here, how there's no sharp edges anywhere on it. It's all kind of smooth on the edge. So what I use, this is called a round over bit. And it does exactly what it called. It takes the edge of a piece of wood and it rounds it over and makes it smooth. And so what you do is you take this and you run it along the edge of the piece of wood. And as you've done that, at that point, after everything is rounded over and sanded off, I send it in to my wife for painting, because I don't do painting. My wife does the painting and she's much better at it than I am. But once it comes back, my wife puts her nice touch on it, and this is what you come out with after it's all assembled and screwed and put together.
What kind of paint does she use?
My wife, I think the paint that she's using it's like a craft paint. She has stacks and stacks of it in there because she paints all the time, and so she just uses craft paint. And when she's done painting, I put what they call, it's like a wax finish on it, so the paint doesn't scuff off when kids are playing on it.
So how long does it take to build these elephants?
So the elephants take, for me to cut all the pieces out and to sand them and router all the edges, takes me about an hour, hour and a half. If I have everything prepped and ready to go, it takes an hour and a half. And then it takes my wife a day or so to paint it. So I mean, we can, from start to finish, it's probably a 3 or 4 hour process after, if we had nonstop time to be able to do it.
All right, Philip. So if someone is interested in buying one of your creations, how would they do that?
Well, if you want to buy one of the rockers, we actually have an Etsy store. You can search for us on Etsy. It's just Meadows Wood Designs. We've actually got 4 different designs. We've got an elephant, we've got a dinosaur, a flamingo, and we have a unicorn. So we've got a few different designs. For all our other stuff, you can find us on Facebook. Again, you can search for Meadows Wood Designs. Most of our stuff is custom ordered. So if you want a table, if you want built-ins, all those different things, you can search for us on Facebook, shoot us a message, and we'll get back with you pretty quick when we do.
All right, Meadows Wood Designs. Thank you so much, Philip. I appreciate your time today. See you around the neighborhood.